What's going on, y'all? What's up? What is good? It is a rainy storm, aka crew, checking in for the sun sign series, the sun in the seventh house to be exact. So if you have sun in the seventh house, we're going to talk a little bit about what that means for you. I am your cosmic root work astrologist specializing in evolutionary astrology. So for those of y'all are coming in for the first time, welcome to me humble day. All right, for those of y'all that are returning, what is good, what it is, what's up? Okay, gotcha. Okay, we're not going there. Um, if you would like to book a personal reading with me at this moment in time, I am taking readings by tip based and also barter and trade based. So y'all make sure y'all check that link down below. I also have a membership available on Patreon, a podcast series that I just started, and a newsletter as well. So if you subscribe to the newsletter to keep in touch, I drop usually around every full or new moon, I should say, my new moon journals, and you will get a free houses in astrology course delivered straight to your email. So y'all make sure y'all check out those links below and holla at me. Like, share, and subscribe, please, and leave them comments below. I love to hear what y'all got to say, what y'all got going on. And yeah, let's hop right on into it for the sun in the seventh housers, okay? I happen to be a sun in the seventh house myself. And yeah, it's been an interesting ride in the relationship sector. So great, right? Okay. So for the sun in the seventh house, this is where we see, how are we talking about and relating to our most intimate relationships, okay? Now, when we talk about the sun in general, this is what illuminates. It illuminates anything that it touches. Kind of like the moon, which is a series that we'll jump into after this series. But the moon is more so like past, emotional state, lineage, relationship to mother. So, it can be very nostalgic. Whereas moon is like, what are the lessons that I've learned presently in this lifetime that is trying to illuminate itself to me here so I can clear that particular karma in this lifetime? So, we talk about the sun in relation to like what our sign is, but really it's probably the least bit that relates to us. We want to look to our rising and our moons versus our sun. Not to say that the sun does not matter. It's meaning more so of like you are learning the lessons of the sun, what is being illuminated to you through your environment and through your experience here in this lifetime. Okay. And so with sun in the seventh house, this is the Libra house. And we talk about our long-term relationships, our business partnerships, as well as people who mirror us. So in all things relationships. Now, I will say if you have any planets other than the sun, or just look at what the sun particularly is connected to in aspects, and it'll tell you a little bit of how this sun is being illuminated and what it's touching. I can use this experience for me. In particular, as an example, I have a lot of connections from my sun over to my fourth house. And there are Mars and Venus squares there, there are and then some other things that I do have in my chart as well that are connected. My moon is also connected to my seventh house as well, and sextile to my seventh house. So there's some particular things that are highlighted in from my home to my relationships or my intimate, romantic relationships to like, creative things. So I say that all to say we'll get into aspects and things like that later. But I just want to give y'all like the basis, break down the basis of what these things mean. And really talk about how this illumination works. So for long-term partnerships, there can be a lot of lessons in your long-term relationships that you have come to learn in this particular lifetime. And just because your sun in the seventh house is in the seventh house does not necessarily mean that you have to be in a long-term relationship with somebody. But this can talk a lot about, I feel like this could talk a lot about some seventh house is also marriages and contractual bonds and agreements as well. I feel like there is just a lot of lessons and stories around them, which of how you look at relationships and how you're experiencing these relationships in particularly. And also how if not just business relationships, but just your collaborative efforts. I feel like a lot of sun in the seventh house, a lot of times maybe you dealt with or maybe you've seen signs of dealing with like codependency in relationships. You can be as independent as you think you are, right? But then you realize when you're in relationships, there is a maybe like you have like some type of codependent type relationships, whether that's like your long-term relationships or maybe, you know, you have like business partnerships that maybe you were codependent to or codependent with, or in those connections to home and family as well. And so I would definitely check out the whole chart, as we say, but this is some of the things that can definitely be coming up with this energy here. Clearing out contracts as well. And when I say contracts, like I said, it does not necessarily have to be business partnerships, okay? It doesn't necessarily have to be contractual bonds in business, but this can also be like spiritual bonds with people. You know, spiritual connections with, you know, long-term partnerships or business partnerships or just even collaborative efforts. Maybe you're somebody who has, if it's not codependent, you know, or maybe you have a mix of this, of where, you know, you're solely independent, right? Like you're just very, very independent, just like off the charts independent. And so this, you know, particular incarnation is asking you or helping you to find a balance between you and other people, you know, because, you know, this is sun in the seventh house is illuminating others as well, in reference to yourself. And so how are you getting along and getting on with other people? Do you ask people for help, for example, or do you maybe stray away from help from people? You know what I mean? So those are some of the things that could be coming up here. Maybe you have to lean on to people for support, or lean on to partners and things like that for support and help, or lean on to maybe you had a contractual agreement or something like that of the sort, where maybe you are asking to basically open yourself up to help. And then also, like I said, exploring just relationship matters, and what kinds of relationships that you want to be in. I know we live in a society that explores monogamy. Granted, if that's what you explore, that's what you explore. That's neither here or there. It is kind of here or there, but maybe instead of exploring monogamous relationships, maybe you're into other forms of relationships. And I'm not just speaking about polyamory, but more multiple forms of relationships. And long-term intimacy does not necessarily just have to be intimate relationships. These can be also relationships that have to do with the ways in which you are intimate with your friends. Like, what does that look like? You know, what does that look like? You know, even like your soul tribe and stuff like that. So that's a little bit of what we have for sun in the seventh house. We're going to be moving and finishing this week off with sun in the eighth house. Y'all make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Leave those comments below. And also, like I said, them personal readings down below, tip base, barter and trade tip bases. So please hit me up and I will see y'all soon. And yeah, next on sun in the seventh house. You already know what it is. It's a rainy storm checking in, checking out, without a doubt. Deuces.